Now is the time to become educated God's way in regard to disease, its causes, prevention, and cure in just 8 simple steps.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Join us for a new start every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. on WOKB 1680 for 8 Steps to Health, brought to you by Saved to Serve Ministries.
Good morning, Orlando. Welcome to 8 Steps to Health, brought to you by Saved to Serve Ministries. I'm your host, Dwayne Powell.
And your co-host, Hope Powell.
And we are very, very excited to be back. Today, as usual, we're joined in the studios with some of our team members from Saved to Serve Ministries. They're health missionaries who travel around the country teaching health principles from the Bible. So welcome Richard, Jarrett, and Jerby.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen. Every week, we are sharing the 8 Steps to Health, which are based on God's Word, our health manual, and we break down these principles in the acronym of New Start. So very quickly, what does New Start stand for?
N stands for nutrition, and E stands for exercise.
W stands for water, S for sunlight, T for temperance.
A stands for air, R for rest, and T for trust in God.
And every week, as our custom here on the 8 Steps to Health, we are going to share the New Start theme song. So please sing along with us.
Nutrition. Exercise. Water. Sunlight. Temperance. Air and rest. Trust in God. Nutrition. Exercise. Water. Sunlight. Temperance. Air and rest. Trust in God. Trust in God. Trust in God.
That's it. Every week, this theme song is for you for encouragement. And trust in God is the foundation of these health principles and the number one prevention for stress. So if you missed any of our previous broadcasts, please visit our website at 8stepstohealth.com. That's the number 8 steps, the number 2, health.com.
So Orlando, we want to reiterate the theme for our show, which is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And every week, our objective is to become intelligent in regards to disease, its causes, prevention, and cure.
And we started a series a few weeks ago on understanding the body organs and how they relate to these 8 laws of health. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been sharing ways to kick the nasty habit of smoking, chewing tobacco, and snuff. And today we're going to continue with some additional ways to kick that nasty habit.
Before we get into the show, we want to play an audio clip to emphasize what we're going to be talking about today.
Your industry markets cigarettes even though there's lots of scientific evidence they're harmful.
I disagree. I say the evidence is not conclusive.
The Surgeon General says smoking may cause everything from lung cancer to heart disease.
Well, in life you have to take some risks. Am I right? Yolo!
Tobacco is no joke. It kills about 480,000 people in the U.S. each year. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
As you can hear, they mentioned Yolo at the end of this commercial. Yolo. What does that stand for?
You only live once.
But we know that is not true. That's fake news because the Bible says that if you don't follow these health principles, because your body is a temple. That's right, it's a temple of God. And if you're not following these health principles, you will only live once, and not come up in the second resurrection. You will come up in the second resurrection.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, when it comes to YOLO, they're emphasizing so much that you only have one life to live. So why not do all the crazy things that you can do? But when you think about it, if you're doing these crazy things, such as smoking, you're killing yourself slowly, and you'll be living your one life in sickness and in unhealth. So it's like, it's not even good when you think about it, because it's like you're trying to deteriorate the good health that you do have for a joy a joyful life.
Yeah, just for a moment. So last week we talked about 3 of the withdrawal symptoms that came along with quitting smoking, such as nicotine urges, cravings, headaches, and anxiety.
And we also shared one method that we know absolutely doesn't work when you're trying to quit the habit of smoking, which is the taper off method. And we quickly found again that it just doesn't work. So someone share with us, why doesn't the taper off method work?
That's right, Hope. Now, let's be clear. The taper off method does not work, period. Simply because that person will continue to be addicted to that substance. Because, for example, would a heroin someone who's addicted to heroin, would you give them a taper off method?
No.
That means they're still being fed that drug, and they're still on it, and you continue to feed the addiction by continuing to smoke. Those who smoke the cigarettes. So the smoker makes a strong effort, experiences constant torture, and accomplishes little or nothing. And this proves that the taper off method is usually set up for failure at the very beginning, the very get-go, that you cannot overcome this smoking by tapering off. It doesn't work.
And as we talked about last week, the only way to truly kick the habit of smoking is to quit cold turkey.
The sandwich meat?
No, not the sandwich meat. A figure of speech, meaning that you want to stop immediately without the taper off method. And for most people, the battle is mostly won after 72 hours. The battle is practically
3
won.
days.
3 days. So if you can just endure for 3 days, the battle is won. And we can do this not by
patch power,
not by
pill power,
but by
willpower,
which comes through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And just a side note with the cold turkey method, that also works with any other addiction.
Right.
When I was a drinker, I had to quit cold turkey. I couldn't stop drinking. Was it Jim Beam or vodka or anything like that? Little by little, I had to just cut it off. You can't drink a little wine and hope, okay, next week I'm going to stop. So I just cut it off that day, and through God's strength, I gained the victory.
So you couldn't take a shot a day?
No shots.
No
You
shot?
can't go from hard liquor, as they call it, to a little wine, and then I'll just drink some vinegar. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You're still putting poison in your body.
Right. So this cold turkey method works with all types of addiction. If you try it with the cigarette smoking, you will see. You will get victory.
And even marijuana, because that's what helped me to get off marijuana.
That helped me too.
I had to flush it down the toilet and never touch it again. I didn't. I'm going to only smoke one.
Yeah. Not taper off.
No.
I mean, that goes back to what we spoke about last week. Choose that one date, that date that you choose to quit and just stop altogether. Now, going back to talking about the negative effects of nicotine, we also learned that nicotine is addictive and it affects the chemistry of the brain. Now, it gives the brain a hit within 10 seconds of the first puff. And I know that talking to my former friends that were smokers, they actually shared with me how when they were smoking, the way that they would continue to increase their intake only because they always wanted to go back to that very first high, or go back to that very first hit that they first got, and they always want to get that same experience. But sad to say, you'll never get that back. Nope. So why not just stop?
Right.
Stop right there and don't continue to harm your health.
And that's why cigarettes are the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Because after you've smoked so long, it's like, I need something stronger and stronger.
And it will never come back. Nope. Because nicotine is both a stimulant and a depressant. Did you just hear what I just said?
Yeah.
It's a stimulant and a depressant. A stimulant raises the blood pressure, while a depressant slows it down.
Wow.
So you're all over the place. You up and down.
Confusion.
That's confusion. That's definitely confusion. However, within a short time, regular nicotine users become tolerant to the sedative effect. The removal of this stimulant probably lies at the root of many of the physical symptoms that occur when people stop smoking their tobacco.
Which we're getting ready to talk about. Those actual physical effects, those withdrawal symptoms.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk more about these common nicotine withdrawal symptoms, because we mentioned a few of them last week, and today again we want to touch on a few more of those. And we're just going to note that it may vary from person to person, but today what we want to highlight is rapid mood swings. We want to talk about sleep disturbances and also hunger.
Right.
Yep. Hunger. And the thing is, when it comes to the rapid mood swings that you'll experience, you'll be all over the place. So one second you're extremely happy, then the next you're mad and you're just arguing and being angry at people. And then next thing you know, you're all happy-go-lucky all
Sounds
over again.
bipolar to me.
Very bipolar.
Stimulant and depressant.
Exactly. So rapid fluctuations in your mood are very common during the first 3 to 5 days after you quit smoking. And along with these rapid mood swings, some people will experience tremors, which is like you're shaking, so your hands are shaking very slowly and subtly. And they'll also experience gastrointestinal problems and headaches.
Which we're going to touch on very shortly. Like
Exactly.
people like gastrointestinal problems from smoking cigarettes, and we'll see why very shortly.
Many people might think that some of these, withdrawal symptoms, such as you mentioned, Derby, these rapid mood swings, like it's your body shutting down. But no, this is your body telling you that it's trying to release and push out all those toxins in the body. It's trying to normalize and alkaline itself, because at this point the body's acidic.
Right.
And it has all those chemicals, those toxins. How much was it, Joe?
7,000.
7,000 chemicals from smoking. It's trying to release through the body. So don't panic when these symptoms, withdrawals occur. It's your body saying, I'm trying to get better.
Exactly. Nicotine is the drug, and you can liken it to heroin. You see these heroin addicts, they get sick because they are so dependent on that drug. And they get these withdrawal symptoms that's sometimes violent, and they want to die. And so like you said, these withdrawals, these 7,000 chemicals are coming out. You know what I mean? So just you got to have the patience and rely on the promises of God.
Amen.
Right, and the family members also have to remember to be patient with your loved ones, because this is an addiction they're overcoming. So be patient with them, and to the addictor, the addicted person, you also have to be patient with yourself. So Jerby just covered the rapid mood swings, and the second withdrawal symptom and the third we're going to talk about is sleep disturbance and hunger. Now, if problems of sleeping are the results of nicotine, because you can have other reasons why you're having problems sleeping, but if they come from nicotine, these withdrawal symptoms should disappear within 2 to 3 weeks. Again, be patient with yourself. Let your body get back to its alkaline, as Richard said, its alkaline state. And when a person stops smoking, they tend to be hungrier. Right? And most people already know this. Most people know that their hunger is going to increase when they're kicking this nasty habit. And some choose to continue to smoke because they're afraid of gaining weight. But Jared, please share with us, should we be afraid to stop smoking because of weight?
Well, let's examine it. We want to talk about 4 reasons why people gain weight when they stop smoking. And then we'll talk about ways to avoid the weight gain or even take off some of the pounds. So point number 1, the food often tastes better once you stop smoking, because commonly ex-smokers discover that they have a new appreciation for the sense and taste of food, because the drug of the nicotine, the smoking was hindering their taste buds from tasting properly and their nose from smelling properly. Point number 2, there is often a tendency to substitute foods for cigarettes.
Especially sweets and caffeine.
Right. Exactly. So people, when they're smoking a lot, it's because they're not eating. They're substituting that food for cigarettes. Point number 3, your metabolism slows down. It slows down. Since nicotine functions primarily as a stimulant, the body's engine has been revved up during all those years of smoking. And point number 4, the stomach empties more quickly. Research shows that smoking can delay stomach emptying by up to 40%. So that means, big. In a nutshell, while you're smoking, you're constipated.
Wow. I'm sure if you ask some smokers and some ex-smokers, they can testify to that constipation. They can testify to substituting sugar and caffeine. They can testify to all of these things, but some of them will also testify that they still were able to kick the habit of smoking.
That's it. And these symptoms will occur, and the average person gets about 5 symptoms. In most cases, 4 of those 5 will be gone in just 72 hours, 3 days. We talked about the 3 days last week. One may linger for a few more days, also to make sure that you maintain your resolve to remain a non-smoker. and once and for all kick this habit.
So
And
it's
this
kind of like a reminder.
is a reminder, exactly. And this is where that support system comes in. You know, you have family members that are smokers, whether it's your spouse or your kid or your parent. You need that support system around you, because those symptoms, those withdrawal symptoms, will be real. You must have patience with them, because it's an internal warfare. They're struggling, they're wrestling, to get the victory over this.
Wow. And Dwayne, as you mentioned the word wrestling and struggle and patience, reminds me of Jacob in the Bible.
Right.
How Jacob wrestled with God in order to gain victory. So let's go there, because again, we can't forget that our foundation is the Bible.
Amen.
This is our health manual. So let's go to Genesis chapter 32. Let's find out how Jacob overcame. Genesis chapter 32, and reading from verse 24. And it says, Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. So here Jacob is wrestling with God. Wrestling with God. And if you go down to 26, it says, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, this is Jacob speaking, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So Jacob here was determined to persevere through not only prayer, but struggling with God, agonizing with God, overcoming with God, only through the strength of God. He was determined to gain victory. And it says here in verse 28, and he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and has what? Prevailed. So he what? He gained a victory.
Amen.
He prevailed the victory. He endured. Go ahead, Jared. I know you want to preach now.
Amen. So notice that Jacob said, I will.
Yeah.
What does that remind you of, Jared?
Not patch
Not
power.
by patch power, nor by pill power, but by the willpower
Willpower.
provided by God.
Amen. And as Jacob's name was changed from Jacob to Israel, so shall your name be changed when you get the
Amen.
victory from what? Defeated to conqueror.
That's
Amen.
right. Praise the Lord. I'm encouraged just listening.
too.
And so now we have dealt with these annoying withdrawal symptoms, because that they are, but they're going to happen. So we're going to talk about 3 ways to kick the misery out of kicking the habit of smoking cigarettes, out of chewing tobacco, and out of snuff.
Yeah, just to reiterate what my wife just said, you got to remember that snuff, tobacco, the lip, the dip, the chew is the same thing. It's an addiction. And I remember when I was growing up, my both grandmothers, chewed snuff. It's a little powder, little can with some powder in it, and they put it between their gum and their teeth. And I don't know what the effect is, but I couldn't see myself doing that. So we just want to make sure that that not just cigarette smoking, but those products contain nicotine, and they are very habit forming as well.
Important. And as Hope, as you mentioned, one of those ways to kick the misery out of this habit is to get your daily exercise.
Yep.
Now, we've mentioned this previously on our podcast, but we can't stress enough the importance of exercise. It's one of the 8 laws of health. Yep. So we're going to mention it again. For the most part, the exercise that is best for most people is brisk walking, because everyone can do it. You go outside and you get your 20 to half an hour of brisk walking. Of course, we encourage any smoker to consult a physician before starting, because this is one of smoking is one of those extensive silent damages, killers that are happening in the body.
That's true.
So daily moderate exercise is recommended, such as swimming. You can go swimming, cycling, and as I mentioned before, brisk walking. So what you're doing is that you're repairing the lungs now and putting it back in action, because those 7,000 chemicals have now damaged the lungs.
Right.
And now the body's trying to force it out. So how do you help it? Exercise. And now you're strengthening it. You're feeding it the proper pure air that the lungs now need to function properly.
People are probably thinking, what, 20 minutes of brisk walking? What is that going to do for me? But trust you me, that will get your lungs moving, your lungs working.
And go outside to do your walking, your exercising, because you're getting the fresh air.
That's what you want.
Exercise will force you to breathe in pure oxygen.
That's what your body, that's what the lungs are dying for, that fresh pure air.
So we know that daily exercise is one way, and the second way, which a lot of people should be happy to hear, is you're getting more sleep. I mean, when you're withdrawn from the stimulating effects of nicotine and any other drug, these people tend to want to sleep more. That's natural, and it's actually good. Extra sleep has a benefit that will help you throughout the whole day, because it involves your central nervous system that's trying to kick the habit, get rid of these cravings of certain foods and certain cigarettes and many other different addictions. How much more sleep should you get? Only about 2 hours. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go to bed and sleep 2 hours. I got to make sure I get 2 hours every day. But it's there for you to help you kick the habit. And think about it. If you get to bed earlier, those extra 2 hours, you're going to wake up feeling great.
Refreshed.
Because you get these high levels of serotonin. Which is the feel-good hormone. And so if you're getting enough rest and you're waking up and you're feeling good, when you feel good, you're going to search for God. When you're searching for God in his word, you're going to find those promises. As you find those promises, you're going to claim them. As you claim them, you're going to get the victory.
Yes, amen to that. And also, you should also increase your intake of water inside your body, because essentially you need to be drinking that half of your body weight in ounces daily, and even more. Reason being, of course, there are those people that, may deal with heart problems, kidney failure, or those that have issues with fluid balance. But the thing is, dehydration seems to make a number of withdrawal effects worse. And I know that for a fact, because when I don't drink my water, my head hurts very badly. And I can tell you that after a long day, you need to drink your water.
And you can be irritable.
Exactly. So drinking water is also an aid in bringing the body back into equilibrium. Drinking water also helps to hasten the nicotine elimination, because nicotine is primarily eliminated through the urine. So as you drink your water, you'll be able to, release your urine, and through that urine, all of the nicotine will be able to be removed from your body.
So we're back to urine, which is connected to your kidneys. And we've been learning since we started on 8 Steps to Health that kidney is very important. It's a filter. So now we're putting another addictive substance through our kidneys that has to fight it.
That's true.
The nicotine.
And Jerby, you also mentioned about drinking the amount of water to bring your body back into equilibrium. Basically mean to bring more, make your body alkaline again by flushing out those toxins. But I just have a question. What if someone is saying, well, I don't like to drink water. I don't naturally like to drink water throughout the day. What do I do to help somebody like that?
Well, I can tell you from my personal testimony that I never used to like drinking water either. But once I started to infuse fruits into my water, I would put cucumbers, a few slices of lemon, and even some mint leaves. And that really makes the water taste so good and refreshing. So that's actually one thing that helps me to increase my intake of water throughout the day.
Awesome.
So let's go back to our health manual, the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, verse 25, it says, "Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you." Amen. So God is telling us, as we're doing the work of putting in the good water into our bodies, all of the filth, all of the nicotine, all of the impurities that was in our bodies from smoking, God will remove it, because you're doing your behalf of drinking your water.
So drink more water, and also water on the outside is beneficial as well. If you're used to taking 1 shower or bath a day, you should increase that to 2 or more. This is because water has a tremendous effect on the nervous system.
Yes, it does.
Yes, if you feel like lethargic, a cooler shower can wake you up. And if you're struggling with anxiety or tension, a warmer shower will help you calm down. And then furthermore, the liberal use of water keeps the body clean and ensures optimal elimination of toxins through the skin. And if you have those cravings, you can also brush your teeth. And those cravings should go away because of the fresh taste that's now in your mouth.
All this talk about water, I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to the future shows where we get to share with people about hydrotherapy.
Yes. And that's going to be coming up in a future show.
Yes, now as crazy as this might sound, the shower is one of the safest havens for those people who are trying to avoid smoking. If you just jump in the shower in the midst of an intense craving, you will likely find yourself in surroundings which you do not associate with your nicotine habit. And this is because the water, it has a neutralizing effect on those withdrawal symptoms, and it will remove you from those temptations. Now in Luke 9 verse 23, God says this. He says, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me. And what Christ is saying, there's going to be a struggle. You will have to make sacrifices, but every step of the way, if you follow me, I will be with you.
So what's the encouragement for today, Jared? What are you leaving us with?
Well, I want to leave you with one of my favorite scriptures, 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3 through 5. And I want to read verse 5 because it says this: casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So as I have these temptations and desires to sin or to smoke, which these things I know are not good for me, I must bring it to Christ. Say, Lord, I'm casting these down. Help me to bring my thoughts into the obedience of Jesus Christ.
Amen. And, you know, it's always good to sing. We sing every week. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying, why are y'all always singing? Well, because music therapy is one way to help us and you overcome any temptation, any craving. Remember in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16, when David played his harp so skillfully that evil spirit left Saul. Likewise, when you're feeling those cravings coming on, when you're feeling tempted to pick up that cigarette, sing a song to get rid of that evil spirit. 1 John 5:4.
Music is a weapon.
Music is a weapon. Whatsoever is born of God overcometh the world. Whatsoever is born of God overcometh the world.
And this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith, even our faith. And this is the victory, 1 John 5:4, even our faith, even our faith. Wow, I just really love that song. Can we sing it one more time, just a little slower?
Okay.
Amen.
Whatsoever is
Born of God overcometh the world. Whatsoever is born of God overcometh the world. And this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith, even our faith. And this is the victory, 1 John 5:4, even our faith, even our faith.
I know for a fact that today someone was helped,
That's it.
relieved, and ready to stop smoking. Claim the promises of God this week. And remember, our theme is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, 8stepstohealth.com. That's the number 8 steps, number 2 health.com.
Also, join us next week where we discuss some more ways to quit this habit, God, using God's simple method. And we just want to encourage everyone to use music as a weapon for any type of temptations, and you will get the victory. All right, Orlando, we thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.